My name is KB and this is my 2023 GR86 and this is what 38,000 miles looks like. All right, car curse is real. Second week of me owning this car. I'm in the gas station, enjoying myself like, I got the bliss honeymoon phase. And then while pumping gas, someone backed into me, bent my bumper, and destroyed my tow hook cover. Even though it doesn't look that destroyed. Sad times indeed. Why it's not fixed, they had no insurance. Happened in the hood, that's all you gotta know. Second thing, this car does not have any PPF. This is what it looks like when you don't have any PPF. Riding low, you're gonna get hit with every single thing, especially if you're in the Houston streets, especially if you're on 225. I know most Houstonians know what I'm talking about. 18-wheelers are gonna be throwing things at you, man. Spraying like Frogger out there. I got dents, I got scratches. My worst one is what the camera's looking at right now. I actually ended up getting paint the color fill in. Did it myself because it was a white marker on my hood. Obviously you can see if you're close, if you're pixel peeping, but for far away pictures you won't see it. PPF, that's a whole different story. There is a $30,000 car. A lot of people think, man, $2,000 PPF, is it worth it? You tell me. All right, going back to the car curse, if you driving low, there's a couple of things you gotta keep in mind. You can't dodge stuff. I'll run over stuff. I mean, you gotta dodge that stuff, or if you can't dodge it, it's gonna take a hit. Had a possum or rodent, whatever it could be, fly right in front of me. There was no way for me to dodge it. Unfortunately, it didn't end its demise, and unfortunately for me, it gave me some nice damage. My liner's coming out. The inside of my fender liner is torn to crap. I gave a slight misalignment to my bumper. The clips on the side were popping off. I might include a picture of that from when it happened. But it's rough out there, man. If you see debris on the road, don't think you're gonna drive over it, especially if you're lowered. Oh my God. But this car already by itself is lowered a little bit, or lower to the ground compared to your standard commuter car. So keep that in mind. You're gonna wanna play, again, like I said earlier, Frogger out there. Another thing, going back to the whole, if you're not PPF, or if you gotta at least do some ceramic coating, even if it's just a sealant you buy off the shelf. Bird poop, it is the kryptonite to this car. This car's paint is very, very weak. And what I mean by that, I have some footage here of parked my car in Gulfgate area. Shout out if you know where Gulfgate is. And if you do know Gulfgate, there's a bunch of birds out there. And I wasn't thinking, I was there for a new phone, man. I was there for a new phone. It was like 4 months into my car, still in the honeymoon phase. So I just parked underneath the tree. I'm thinking, oh man, I got shade. All right, let's go, baby. 2 hours later, I come out and my car, it is covered with bird poop. I think I'm gonna definitely do a picture for that just because I cannot, people are gonna think I'm exaggerating, but it was covered. Those 2 hours the car was covered in, it ate through my paint. There's a lot of more in here. Anyway, that's just the damages I've gotten, the incidents that's happened. All that to say, I still love this car, which is why I'm gonna go over what I've actually done to it, the mods, and how I got it to it looks like now. All right, on to the better things, the mods, the things that I did to this car, not nature or outside forces. Dashcam. I got the car November 2nd, got back in the second week, number 15 dashcam, baby. I knew I've always wanted one. This is gonna save me for any possible accidents, man. There's no way I'm not gonna have one. It's in the front and the rear, just to get those shadow play footage, highlights out there of Houston roads. But yeah, that was November 2nd of 2022 when I got it. Kept this stock for a while, aesthetically wise, and then on April of 2023 is when I got my first actual change, if you will. This is the base edition of the car, so it doesn't come with a ducktail. I got that from Import Image Racing. It is a Noble TRD style ducktail. It came paint match. It was about, I think, like 290. I think it belongs in the car. Some people think otherwise, but I would say majority of people prefer the ducktail. It goes with the curves, gives it a nice sharp look. It is installed by Adhesive 3M. It's been there since, like I said, 2023 of April. It has not flown off yet. Along with that, I did also get clear side markers. And while it is a small mod, I think it does a big difference into the look of the car. Some people get smoked, some people get RGB ones. I just want it clear. It still turns orange, unfortunately, but I don't really trip about that. From the outside looking in, I think it looks amazing. And it's a small touch and it goes well with the car, in my opinion. Easy mod for any new GR86 owners. Only two 10mm nuts, I think. Just pop in and out. There's a bunch of videos online. You could look it up. Shout out Kevin Vo. That's the biggest guy I follow when I do any of these mods. July 2023. I needed sound. I needed rumble. This car has none of that. So I threw in an HKS Spec exhaust. To be exact, for those wondering, it is a 32016-BT004, aka the, I don't want to say OG because it's still made for the Gen 2, but it's not the L2, which is quieter. This one retains the rumbleness of the first gen. Deep bass, not obnoxious, more mature. It's just to get a little bit more feedback, you know, for when you're driving. It does have drone. It's not a lot, but it does have it. If someone tells you all this motherfucker doesn't have drone, it will have it. This car could get very droney at 3K, which is fine for me, but something for you to consider if you are looking at exhausts. I should have cleaned it up a little bit more, but it is what it is. Plans for that. Eventually, I do want to get the headers to go along with it to give it that boxer rumble, but this one's satisfying for me at least. August, I got the Mtech clutch spring with tint in September, fall in September. I got 35% all around with 75% the windshield. The Mtech clutch spring though, oh my God, game changer. The clutch in this car is very soft. It's crazy soft. Barely has any bite point, you know, so if you're learning clutch standard driving, it's easy in the sense of engage is really easy, but finding that engagement is kind of a pain. This spring gives it more of an aggressive feel where you can feel the bite point. Trust me when I say this, even for newer drivers or experienced drivers, huge game changer, man. It made me much more comfortable with driving on hills, in traffic. You know where the bite point is, you know where to sit on it, you know, if you are stuck on a hill. Not that you should do it all the time, but you're not gonna stall out. October, I turned off the active sound control. This car does come with fake engine noise. Some people will say they didn't like it. I thought it was fine for the first 2 weeks. It gets really loud past 4K. I mean, it does get the sound from the engine, but it is played through the speakers and it can get really loud. Yeah, I turned it off. I mean, once you have an exhaust, you're gonna want to hear the exhaust more. Now, this thing is loud enough for if you don't have an obnoxious exhaust, it will drown your actual exhaust. From there, I did get the Etsy phone mount in December for my birthday. It is MagSafe. If you do have a case on your phone, just keep in mind it might fly off anyway. If you, especially if you have for coilovers and your car becomes bumpier. Put my phone on there actually, and that's how it sits. I also got the, you know, along with that gift, I got an EjectoSeatoCuz button right underneath the shift knob. My girlfriend gave me that. The middle button in a lot of cars is empty. So, like I said, I'm going through every single detail of this car that I've done, every change. So, you guys know everything, or will know everything. All right, so that was December 2023. My birthday in January. I said, I want to be aesthetically pleasing. I want to fill in the wheel gap because the car comes with some insane offset. So I went with these SSR GTX01s, 18 by 8.5, 44 offset. Continental Extreme Sport Contact O2s in 235/40. Does have the 40 sidewall. It does throw the speedometer about like 2 miles, but nothing insane. Now, that being said, I only got wheels and tires first. I was gonna keep this car on stock suspension because I thought it looked pretty good. But again, the mod bug got me and I wanted more aesthetics. So that same summer in June, I got some coilovers. HKS Hypermax S, dropped them in. It is on a stock drop. I didn't lower it anymore. So I'm about only like a 2-finger gap. If I remember correctly, it did drop it by 1.5 inches, I think. Might have to go back to the data for that, but those would be the biggest changes to this car because it changes the way it drives, changes the way it handles, which by the way, out the box handles beautifully, but when you lower it down just a tad bit, put some more tire meat, it grips. You know, my launches go from 6.2 to 2.3 sec. No, I'm just playing. But man, the cornering already it makes it much better. Now that does come with a sacrifice. It drives like absolute dog. And what I mean, not driving, but I mean bump wise. If you know Houston, you know the roads here suck. Every bump you're gonna feel, every crack, every imperfection. If you ever driven down Harrisburg, oh my God, it is like off-roading in this car. Next thing from there, in August, September, I did finally remove the ugly front plate bracket. I do have a video on that on my YouTube because, like I said, I'm recording everything I do with this car. From there, I did have to add in these Amazon rubber stops. From far away, it looks clean. Once you're inside, you know, pixel peeping, you'll see how ugly it can be. But you know, driving, passing by, you won't really see them. And because it is Texas, you still do need a front plate mount. So I do have it on my windshield. A lot of people say that doesn't matter. You can still get a ticket, knock on glass, save your ass. I still haven't gotten pulled over for it yet, but I will keep it there anyway, just to be safe. And on that same time frame, September, I did hit my 30K miles, which I ended up doing my rear differential and transmission oil change. I went with all red line. I do have a video on that if you want more details. But that's when I hit it around 31K. In October, I did go over, I did buy a mod for the dash cam itself. Shout out to Hatchie Electronics on Reddit. He makes a mod that makes your dash cam on at all times. It plugs into your, this is specifically to the 86 though, it plugs into your active sound control module, because once you disconnect it, you'll have a plug laying around. You can use that same plug to plug it into the dash cam and it'll keep your battery powered. So it's been running this whole time. And it does have voltage cutoff, you know, that way you don't accidentally drain your battery, which has happened to me because I left the light on like a dumbass. But since then, it hasn't happened. It works pretty well. Finally, in November of 2024, one of the biggest things that issues that this car has is the studs are so damn weak. Anything more than 90 pounds of full torque will cause issues. And unfortunately, that's what happened to me. This kind of tire, by default, torques their stuff from 100 to 110. Unfortunately for me, one day I was driving out, did some turns, and then I feel my wheel. I feel like I had a flat. I pulled over and my wheel is damn near almost falling off. I have 4 broken studs. 1 lug nut stayed, and that's ultimately what saved my wheel. I'll put a picture of how it looks just so you know. Because of that, you know, the tire, the wheel itself is a 44 offset. I've always wanted an aggressive offset to fill in the gap. And so I've always wanted spacers. Since I had no option to replace the studs on those, I went with ARP 2.5-inch studs, extended studs. Decided to do them all around the car because I was already taking them out anyway. And then it ended up dropping in the Mtech 10 mil spacers to set me at 34 offset, which I think, in my opinion, is the look to go for. I think you could push 32, but at that point, I'd rather just get a wider wheel. But for me, I love the way it sits right now. I could go a little lower, but my driveway sucks. And that was November of 2024. Haven't really messed with it since, besides the typical oil changes, which I do every 3,000 miles. Me being almost at 38,000, I'm gonna do, I think I'm behind. I need to do my brake fluid change and then just keep it running. Anyway, that is my GR86, 38,000 miles. All the love and pain that has cost me, all the crying, you know, from when my wheel almost fell off. Thank God I didn't get that much damage. All the crying from my fender being busted. Last night, actually, I ran over a box. Camera guy actually was crying for me when it happened, which is why I said earlier in the video, if you see something and you think you could drive over it, just get out the way or slam your brakes, whatever you can do. But all that to say, I love this car. I do have plans for it, like tracking it and going to autocross, but I do want to get my cash car first in case I blow this thing up. And that's all she wrote.